close video today, and this one is looking at the brand new pop-ups from Tonic. I'm not 100% sure if they've done many dies focusing on this pop-up kind of look before. I think there's been elements within other die sets that they've done, but I'm not sure they've actually focused on them before. But there are 3 different sets that you can get, and I have them in their proper packaging, and I'll show you how to open the packaging too. I feel like I've shown this in so many of my up close videos, but I don't think I've edited a lot of them yet, so I keep adding it into the video so that you know how to get them open without like destroying the packaging. Yes, there are 3 different sets. You have the Delicate Dragonfly, which has this gorgeous circular element, and it has a separate flower, a separate little cluster of flowers, and the separate dragonfly in there as well. So I'll open all of these and show you them. Then we have the Butterfly Blush Pretty Pop-Up. This one has a gorgeous, like, I think it's called a kaleidoscope of butterflies that you can go like straight up your card. You can go diagonally across your card. If you were making something much bigger, you could even cut it twice and make it a lot longer of an element as well. You get a separate large butterfly in this set, and you also get a flowery corner as well. And the whole idea of this pop-up effect is that parts of the die can be lifted, so you stick different areas down, but like the wings of the butterfly or the petals of the flowers can be lifted, and there's also some small fall away pieces as well. And then we have the Flourishing Florals is the final one, where you can use this like 2 large corners with loads of different flowers and leaf elements in it. You can use the 2 different ones together to create a large rectangular design, or you can use either of them individually to create more of like a corner design on your card. And you can colour them, you can cut them out of your fancy cardstocks as well, and create some really cool effects with them. So I've got a few samples to show you too. But first I will show you how to open your packaging. So the way the new packaging is, it's supposed to be more eco-friendly. So it's only a cardboard sleeve, which can easily be recycled, then a piece of acetate inside, and then the dies are stuck to another piece of cardboard as well, so everything is easy to recycle. The acetate isn't stuck down at all, and it doesn't get too scratched, so you can use that for all of your shaker cards as well if you do want to take the dies out of the packaging and store them in however you like to store your dies. So the way I've been opening them, they're like a cardboard sleeve that's glued, like the tab is pushed inside and glued to stick it, kind of like an envelope sort of thing. So the way I've been doing it is taking like a long bladed pair of scissors, like the Holtz Shears are perfect, and then snipping all the way across the top of the packaging, literally just cutting the smallest amount that you can. That's sort of like a couple of millimeters maybe. So I'll do all of them because I'm going to show you all of the dies that are in here. Okay, then once you've got the packaging open like that, you've then created a pocket. So this is actually quite a nice way to keep them if you want to, and it doesn't take up much room at all because it's really nice and flat. And you could stick a piece of magnet to the cardboard that's inside and then put your dies back onto the magnet as well for making it easier too. But the way you want to open it is, this piece of acetate isn't stuck to the outside packaging, it's actually attached to the piece of cardboard that the dies are attached to. So you want to make sure the acetate is loose from this window before you pull it out, and then you can pull this out with the little tab that's easily accessible, and you can see here this is how the acetate is attached to this piece of card with the dies on. So if you were going to keep them in this packaging, you'd probably want to take that acetate and slip it back inside, because it will cover the window up for you, and then you could stick a magnetic sheet to the back of this, put the dies on there, and then slide that in and out and have that as your storage if you wanted to. But if you didn't want to and you want to store them in your other storage options, like the medium die storage pockets that I store my Tonic dies in, the rest of the packaging is really easily recycled, and the acetate is perfect for all of your shaker cards because as you can see everything reflected in it. There's like no scratches, I don't know how, but the old packaging used to get very beaten up, but that is really nice and perfect to use still, so you could get a couple of shaker cards out of that easily. So let me just quickly take all of these out so I can easily show them to you, and I'll put the acetate back inside. Ah, I haven't quite finished cutting that bit there, so there we go. That's better. Okay, so let's show you this one. This is the Flourishing Florals pop-ups. So you have two large corners that you can use separately or together, and all of the dies have one sec, I've got this one here, this separate cutting edge to them, which makes them really versatile. The main idea for this cutting edge is so that you're saving cardstock. This is the same one that's here, because you can, if you're using like a fancy specialty Craft Perfect card behind this, you don't want to, like say you've done this on a rectangular card, you don't want to waste all this bit of the card. So if you just cut your pretty card from this, it will fit exactly behind the main panel for your card, or you can use them together and cut out the section as well, so you've got lots of different options with them. And this one, they're both different, these two corner pieces. This one's only got one main foliage leaf in, and this one has two inside it. They all have different amounts of popping up to them, so some of the flowers just like the whole petal pops up, and like other flowers like this one, it's kind of like two little pop-ups, or you could stick the inside piece down and just that sort of more lacy design would stick up. And some of them have got like little die cut details in them as well, like little circles or little ovals cut into them. You also have these little fall away pieces, which are really nice to use to embellish any other cards you might be making, or maybe to bring the design to the inside of the card perhaps. So you get these gorgeous little flowers that come out, and also there's some of these little tiny flowers as well, and even little tiddly widdly ones, teeny tiny. So they're really cute for decorating elsewhere, or keep all those pieces and put them in a shaker card as well, because you get quite a lot from a die cut. I mean, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you know, there's plenty, in more than 10, like nearly 20 probably in each of these corners. So you get loads of those fall away pieces that you can use for different things. So that is the Flourishing Florals pop-up, which is the simplest one. It has the least amount of dies in it, and they fit perfectly together, so you can easily create that larger sort of rectangular square sort of panel if you want the whole of your front of your card to have that pop-up feature. Then the next one, I think this might be my favourite just because I really love butterflies. This one is the Butterfly Blush Pretty Pop-Up, and it has that gorgeous kaleidoscope of butterflies in the middle. And obviously their wings lift up, and there's like different degrees of how much, or okay, there isn't on this one actually. No, they all just completely pop up and have little cutout elements. I think it's the Dragonfly that, yeah. Anyway, so the whole wing pops up, and you have little pieces that fall away out of it, so it gives it that sort of lacy butterfly kind of a look. And again, you have the fall away pieces here. On one of my cards, I've used some of them to embellish, but they're just out of white card, these, so I'm not sure if you can see them that well. But you get all of the different sizes of little butterflies. So again, perfect for your shaker cards. If you have any of the, there's a yellow one and a purple one, little butterfly confetti from the Nouveau range from Tonic. Mixing in some die cut ones with that would look really pretty in a shaker card. So you've got those fall away pieces to use, and you also get two floral designs in here as well, which also have the flowers that fall out. So I mean, if you could only go for one, I think this one is really good because you've got the floral element but also the butterfly element too. This one is just flowers in here, but this one has a little butterfly in it as well, and you've got sort of all little leaves that pop up, and then the floral elements too. And you also have a separate butterfly, which is the same size as this butterfly here but slightly different design on it. And with the separate butterfly, you can just cut it into the card like I've done on one of my samples, and just have the wings raising up. Or you can use the outside edge and the inside edge together and have a completely separate butterfly that you would then, the edge that the two dies together created for you, you stick that down, but the wings can still come up, so you can add it to your card afterwards, is basically what I'm trying to say. So say you've already added like glimmer paste or, you know, something like that to your project, and you don't want to run that back through your die cutting machine because it might flatten it, you can use the two dies together and have it as a separate element that you would then stick on later, and I'll show you that with the dragonflies. And you get the outside edges for all of these too, so again you can cut that, say you've done like an inky 3D kind of a background, but you still wanted this butterfly cascadey kaleidoscope kind of thing going on your card, you could use both of them together to cut out that whole element. You can see on the sample here on the packaging, this coloured piece was completely cut out, and you can see how you stick part of it down but the butterfly wings still stick up, whereas the floral elements here were cut straight into that white card rather than being stuck on top. So there's like two different ways of using these as a pop-up element, and that is the butterfly completely cut out, and you can see here how you stick that outside piece down but the wings still like float up. So that is the butterfly one. And then this one, I also really enjoyed this one actually, is called Delicate Dragonfly Pretty Pop-Up. You have a gorgeous central element which fits really nicely on an A6 or American A2 size of a card, which is brilliant. All of these do actually. Yeah, most of my cards are quite small, so they all sort of fit on that kind of a size. This one I actually did on more of a DL kind of size. However, you could use it on more of an A6 size of a card, and some of it might fall off, but I think that would still look fine for a design. So back to this one. So you have the separate dragonfly as well, which also features in the design too. I think, no, slightly different cut detail on the wings and stuff, but you can use obviously the dragonfly to cut into your card just to have a single, or you could do multiples of them just on a card and they come out straight out of the background panel, or you can use the two dies together and have it as a separate element, and you can use just the outside die to then cut another colour to stick behind as well, but then you'd still have the wings coming up and you'd see the colour through, which I'll show you. And then you have the separate flower, which again you can do the same kind of thing to. You have a small little corner with floral designs in it and another different sort of corner. This one, you could even make it look a bit Christmassy because that could be a kind of poinsettia-y sort of a flower. But I really love them actually. I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy using them or like the designs, but once you cut them, I think you really see the potential and how gorgeous the designs are. Like, I knew I was going to like the butterflies because I love butterflies. This one I was thinking, yeah, I'm definitely going to like the flowers and the dragonflies. But this one I was kind of like, I wasn't really, like, thinking of how pretty it would look when it's done, but it does look really stunning. So, I think this is why I like doing these up-close videos for you, because if you just see this, or like on a website, or I mean the packaging does show it off really nicely. I think Alison's cards are stunning on the packaging, but if you're just seeing the die set and trying to think of ideas that you can do with it, you don't really appreciate what it can do until you see some cards as well. So those are the three pretty pop-up die sets. And then I've got a few samples to show you. So this one was using the floral one, which is called Flourishing Florals. And I've used this one that has the two sort of branchy designs in. And you can see here, this is kind of an A6 sort of size. Yes, it is A6 size. And you can see how that fits, like it just fits on absolutely perfectly. Not quite in the corner, I did sort of lift it up into the card a little bit, but it gives that gorgeous like scattered design on it. And I just used aqua flows to colour in the flowers, but I wasn't being too careful, and I still think that gives a really nice look. And if you're sending these through the post and any of the bits get flattened down, it's really easy to just pick the petals or leaves back up again, to give them that that 3D look. And again, I used that outside die on this one, that way around, to cut that Flourishing green satin cardstock to go behind, so I wasn't wasting any of it sticking it up around here. I was just putting it behind that element, which I think is a really great use of that extra outside die. And then I just finished it off with a really gorgeous sentiment, which is from the Floral Frames die set, which I've already put up a up-close video for that. But this card hardly took any time at all. It literally took me like 10 minutes to add this watercolour sort of effect to it, and then all you've got to do is wait for that to dry, cut your piece to go behind it and stick it on. I mean, imagine making a set of like 6 of these and giving them as a present, all in different colours or something. You know, it would only take you an hour or an hour and a half to get 6 cards out, and they look so gorgeous and like you spent so much time on them because of all the intricate detail of this. So that is the Flourishing Florals, can't remember the names yet. So that is that one. Then I have got a couple to show you with this one, which is the Delicate Dragonfly. So the first one I did, I kind of used it in a bit of a different way. So I took the inside piece and cut it from a piece of craft card. And then I decided to take the outside piece, and instead of cutting the design out of the craft card, I cut an aperture into some white card and then raise that up and set the craft card behind it. So you're kind of using it in a different way then, and you can do that with any of the designs too. It doesn't just have to be this circular one. And this panel is the same kind of size as an A6 or A2, the same width. Just the panel on the card, so you can see how it will fit really nicely, and obviously you can twist it to whatever direction you want. You could have the dragonfly coming in from the top or from this side, and it just depends how you position the aperture on your white panel of card. But I think this one turned out so pretty, and I've used a mirror card behind the pop-up elements and a couple of strips to just match it down here. And again, one of those sentiments from the Floral Frames die set as well, and I've also used some gloss white Nouveau drops to bring the white into the rest of the design, so it wasn't just brown on the inside. I've brought the white in with a few Nouveau drops, so I think that looks really cool. I do really like this one. But again, you could apply this method to this design. You don't have to just cut them from a solid cardstock or just colour them. You know, you can get a really different look with however you decide to use them. Again, this one was really quick and simple to make because I didn't have to wait for anything to dry from having coloured it. It's literally just, well, 2 die cuts really, the aperture and then this, and then whatever sentiment you want to put on it. But you know, it's really not much die cutting to make a really pretty card. So that is the first one using the Dragonfly set, and this is the second one, showing you how you can cut the individual flowers out on the individual dragonfly, and I just think that gives a really simple look. And then I've used one of the specialty cardstocks in the background. It's from, I actually was just using the Mint Blush 6x6 pad, where you get lots of different designs in there, and this one is the Duck Egg Toil, which you can also get in the A4 sheets as well. And I got the backing for this aperture plus the backing for the dragonfly and for the 3 flowers from one 6x6 sheet from that pad, so it's quite a economical way of using your specialty cardstock. And then I just cut a mirror card frame using the Tonic cross stitch circles, and I used a sentiment strip die as well. I think the sentiment strips go really nicely with this collection of dies too. So I mean, although I've used the sentiments from the Floral Frame set, I think the sentiment strips, I've used them on a couple, they just go really nicely because they're just sort of that delicate kind of a sentiment. But just showing here how you can stick the intricate one that you've completely cut out onto the solid shape, and it means you can raise it up with 3D foam because you've got a solid base behind it to hide that behind, but you still get the same pop-up effect with the wings or the petals of the flowers as well. And you don't even have to stick the edge down. Like here, I stuck the centre and I didn't stick either edge down, so it kind of is like a double pop-up sort of effect. But that's, again, it's a quick and simple card, but I think it looks really effective. And then I just used some of the crystal gems from Nouveau as well to go in the centre of the flowers and on the top part of the dragonfly's body as well. Then my final 2 cards are using the butterfly set. These are the 2 cards I actually started with when I was making these, and this is the butterfly blush. And all of these products will be linked below the video and on my blog post with like picture links if you want to find any of them and see if you are interested in getting them. So I've got 2 cards here. This one, really simple. I just took 3 colours of oxide inks actually. I used tumbled glass, broken china, chipped sapphire. I just took the ink pad, swiped it across the card, and then I took a wet flat paintbrush and then brushed over it to kind of give that look, like watercolour-y kind of a look of like a dip dyed ombre kind of a background. And then I just took one of the corners from the butterfly set, the one that has a little butterfly in it, and the separate butterfly, and just cut them straight into the card. I just raised up all the little pieces from them, and I also used the fall away from the main butterfly piece that I'd cut from white for the other card that I'm going to show you, and I just added a few of those butterflies to bring more of the white into the card, because you've got the white showing through where all of the flowers fall away in that corner element, but bringing the white up to the rest of the card I think looked really nice. The sentiment I've used is from the like the Polaroid set that Tonic have done that goes with the memory book range. It's just one of these dies that cuts into the card, and I thought that went really nicely with the pop-up kind of look, because that cuts into the card too. And then all I did was raise it up on 3D foam, stick it straight onto my white card blank, and I used White Blizzard Nouveau glitter drops in the centre of the flowers, and just sort of cascading up the card with the butterfly as well, and I think that gives a really nice look. And then the other butterfly one I did, again, really simple. I cut the rectangle of white card and cut the whole like kaleidoscope inside that rectangle, just lining it sort of straight up really. And then again I've just raised up all of the little wings of these. I used the waist from these little butterflies on that other card. Again, I've used a sentiment strip die, the Thanks one, which was in the original release, and to balance that black I've added some black Nouveau drops across the card as well in a scattering. And for the background on this one, I actually took, I've still got them out here so I could show you the colours. I'll just hold them all up like this, and if you're interested you can like screenshot the screen to see all of the different colours that I used. So that was the rainbow of colours. All I did was take the chisel nib from all of the pens and just scribble across the card in a diagonal fashion. If I get this piece actually. So here's another one of it. So I scribbled across the card in a diagonal fashion, added a piece of double-sided adhesive on it, and then I used the diamond glitter. You don't want to use the ice white because the ice white kind of obliterates whatever's underneath it, but the diamond one works really nicely. And if you have any of the smaller sets, it came in the Golden Years collection of glitters as well in a smaller tub. But that's how I created that background, and then I just cut it to be slightly bigger than the white panel that I'd used, so you can see it around the edge, but you can also see that rainbow underneath all of the butterflies as well. So I hope you enjoyed this up-close look at the brand new pop-ups from Tonic, and like enjoyed seeing some more quick and simple cards than what I do tend to usually make actually, but showing you how you can use your messier kind of styles of backgrounds, or you can just use Craft Perfect cardstock and get really nice results for your cards as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!